Hello everybody, this is Mason Productions, and before we get started with today's video, I want you to do me a solid and consider liking this video and subscribing, and maybe do me a solid and comment on this video. Give me some feedback, maybe give me suggestions of what I can do for this and do. So yeah, and let's get started with today's video. So yeah, we're on a little bit of an interesting subject today. So I'm moving on. I'm gonna be talking about something a bit different. Instead of the usual American animation that I've been talking about, like I talked about, Steamboat Willie and a bunch of the early Warner cartoons like Bosco. We're going overseas to an old country called Japan. Japan has a very unique place in animation history and animation in general right now, with it dominating the current culture today. So yeah, this is the short. This is the. It's a very short show. It's like about just slightly over 4 minutes. It's a show called the Dual Sword, also known as its Japanese name, Nama Nama Namakura Gatana. I probably pronounced that wrong. It's created by a guy named Junichi 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 Kochi. I'm mispronouncing this badly. I'm so sorry. Anyway, there's Japanese out there, so yeah. Yeah, and it was released on June 30th, 1917. It is also one of the early examples of anime. And you see, it's about a samurai. He buys a sword. That's a very neat effect. Where with his it's like, it's like, it's like the little coins just fall out of him and on him. Like, how does he do that? Is that like the force or something? I don't know. So yeah, he buys a sword and yeah, walking around. It moves a bit weird. It's obviously a lot more different than the anime today or of even the distant past. It's different from like animes. You got like Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer. It's even different from like the Naruto's or the One Pieces or the Dragon Balls or even the Astro Boys of the world. This is way before any of those. Way before even Astro Boy. Also, I think it's more like we're just lines in this hand like that. Like, it's kind of like a force type thing. And for some reason, the short does not have any sound. I guess it was silent at the time of its release, and for some reason it's shown in like I get this, I guess this blue filter. I guess for some reason I don't know why. It's kind of weird. But yeah, definitely has more unique anime style. So the dominant like animation at this time was like people like Winsor McKay when Gertie the Dinosaur that was released I think 3 years before this. This is before like 1970s, before like Felix the Cat, even before like a lot of what the Fleischer brothers would do. So yeah, yeah. I haven't been talking a whole lot about the plot. Sorry. So yeah, it's just this samurai going around, this sword. It, for some reason, has that refrain. I'm guessing there's some damage on it because you can see some of the stuff on the screen. I'm guessing that has to be damaged. Gotta be damaged, And apparently it was lost for a very long time. Obviously, tries to I guess beat this guy, and he does not go well. And it changes to a yellow, I guess, type of filter, whatever you want to call it, for some reason. I have no idea why. And I don't know what that's supposed to. And that guy just defeats him and just walks all over him. Wow. So yeah, and I don't really know why. Is that just? I can't tell if that's really the weapon that's just stuck in his. It's just stuck in his butt. And also, this I guess the sword breaks. They don't really need like the whole. I don't know if it's meant to be like a shadow or it's just meant to be dark. I do like how this thing looks. You know, it's not the it's not the longest thing in the world. It's very short. It's not like the most plot driven. It's just about a samurai that's not very good at it and has very bad swords. So can't do his job a whole lot correctly. So it's not the most plot driven thing in the world. But it's it's interesting to look back at it. Something from like that's like more. It's more than 100 years ago. That's like 100 and 7 years ago. That is an old piece of film. And apparently it was lost for a very long time because a lot of the and this guy Junichi Kochi and the other what they're called the fathers of anime. A lot of their work is either either victim to every Lost Media fan's worst nightmare, a fire, or just unfortunately lost to time, like a lot of old silent films. Unfortunately, it was apparently rediscovered in an antique shop in Osaka in like 2008. So if you have an antique shop, keep out for like film or anything like that. There may be something in there, something very valuable. Yeah, that's the lesson learned from this. So yeah, it's an interesting little piece of animation history that was just discovered. It was the start of something. It was the beginnings of something. It was the early years of anime, and obviously anime would grow like through the 60s, through Astral Point, through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and then it had this big crossover. Obviously like you get it like on like Toonami and like Cartoon Network where it would grow, and you obviously got the streaming services of today, where just like anime is massive. It trends all the time. It's very, very different and a lot more popular a lot these days. All these days, and yeah, it's very different than what this was. This is probably more close to like, what a lot of it's more similar to like what Western animation, but obviously this one had a more Japanese spin, being about like samurai being more period type of tale type of thing. So yeah, and yeah, it's a very unique piece of history, and yeah, yeah, it's a, it's just fine, sure, for what it is. It's not like a short that I'm always gonna constantly, go back, go back to or acquiring to have it on like streaming or anything like that. But it's nice that something like this exists. It's nice, It's nice that we have these early pieces of anime that exist out there. I like that a lot, and I find a lot of well, if you couldn't guess, I find a lot of older animation very interesting and very fascinating to talk about, and this is an example of it. So yeah. Well, anyways, that's it for today's review of the Dull Sword. Well, Sword, one of the earliest examples of anime. So yeah, and I'll see y'all in the next video. We'll probably be back on the more usual fare of the golden age of animation, Western animation. We'll be back onto that. Talk about more of that. We'll get into some more significant cartoons of that time period, of that time frame. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.